Zhang Si has won the affection of other members of the Liu family, but Liu Yudong has always been cold towards her. What secrets lie behind this unexpected marriage? What is the true purpose of Liu Yudong's proposal? Zhang Si woke up in the middle of the night, her whole body aching. No one would believe it if she told them, but last night, she slept with Liu Yudong. It was her first time, and she didn't feel much, just pain. The only thing that left a deep impression on her was the ambiguous sensation when Liu Yudong's stubble brushed against her face. He breathed by her neck, kissed her ear, and his deep, magnetic voice, combined with the skin-to-skin contact, made Zhang Si's body burn with heat. Throughout the process, Liu Yudong kept murmuring a name by her ear. Although Zhang Si never clearly heard what the name was, it didn't diminish the thrill of her first experience in the slightest. In the middle of the night, Zhang Si woke up to find Liu Yudong still asleep. She looked at the man's stern face beside her and inexplicably felt much closer to him. She craved the warmth of his embrace and even whimsically thought of continuing to lie by his side, holding him as she slept. But she knew that staying any longer would only bring trouble. Liu Yudong was the president of New East International. Having slept with an intern like Zhang Si, she could easily imagine the consequences. At best, losing her job and leaving. At worst, being labeled as seducing the president, ruining her reputation, and being unable to stay in Jiangzhou. Yesterday was the first day of the team building. In the evening, Liu Yudong got drunk and, without any explanation, pulled Zhang Si, who was helping him, to his room, and kissed her face. Zhang Si's mind went blank at first. She wanted to refuse, but seeing Liu Yudong's face made her dazed, and she couldn't resist anymore. Before this, intern Zhang Si had never even had direct contact with Liu Yudong. Zhang Si staggered back to her room, pretending nothing had happened, until 6 in the afternoon when several coach buses returning to the company stopped at the hotel entrance. Zhang Si boarded the bus with another intern, Han Lan. As soon as she got on, she saw someone sitting in the first row, resting with eyes closed, which gave Zhang Si a shock. Who else could it be but Liu Yudong? The bus was full, except for the seats beside and behind Liu Yudong. Zhang Si's face turned red instantly. She and Han Lan were late, so they had no choice but to sit behind Liu Yudong. Didn't Mr. Liu drive here himself? Why is he taking the coach back with us this time? Han Lan whispered to Zhang Si. Han Lan had a loud voice, and even when she whispered, others could hear it clearly. I don't know, Zhang Si replied with her head down. When she got on the bus, she had been deliberately using her hand to shield her face, afraid that Liu Yudong would recognize her. But she also held onto a sliver of hope that maybe Liu Yudong didn't remember what happened last night, or even if he did, he wouldn't know it was Zhang Si, since they hadn't interacted before, and he was drunk, and the lights were off most of the time last night. The long journey was boring, and Han Lan started playing on her phone. Zhang Si, feeling envious, wanted to take out her phone too, but after searching around, she couldn't find it. Zhang Si nudged Han Lan beside her. Call my phone, I can't find it. Where did you put it? Han Lan asked absent-mindedly as she dialed the number saved as Zhang Cici on her phone. A pleasant ringtone sounded, but it didn't come from Zhang Si's bag or her suitcase. Instead, it came from the seat in front, more precisely, from Liu Yudong's hand. Zhang Si's hair stood on end instantly. With Liu Yudong on the bus, everyone was unusually silent, making Zhang Si's phone ringtone sound particularly jarring. Last night, after helping Liu Yudong back to his room, Zhang Si must have dropped her phone while undressing. After the intimate encounter, she had completely forgotten about it. After the initial shock, Zhang Si quickly regained her composure. It seemed that Liu Yudong took the coach bus today specifically to wait for her, like a hunter waiting for his prey. Perhaps he knew it was her who had spent the night with him, or perhaps he didn't. But with the ringtone and Han Lan's earlier comments, she guessed that Liu Yudong had figured it out. In this way, Zhang Si had inadvertently confessed. Han Lan looked at Zhang Si with a puzzled expression, nodding towards Liu Yudong, clearly asking, "What's going on?" "Stop it," Zhang Si said, pressing down on Han Lan's hand. The remaining awkwardness was too much for Zhang Si to bear, and she had no idea how to explain it. "What exactly happened? How did your phone end up with Mr. Liu?" Han Lan whispered, gossiping. Just as Zhang Si was at a loss, Liu Yudong suddenly turned around from the front row, nearly scaring Zhang Si out of her wits. "Is this your phone number?" Liu Yudong asked Han Lan, holding up Zhang Si's phone, which displayed the name, Crazy Lan. Crazy Lan was a nickname Zhang Si had given Han Lan. Han Lan nodded eagerly like a peak. "Yes, Mr. Liu." Zhang Si couldn't find her phone, so she asked me to call it. Han Lan even mentioned Zhang Si's name, making it impossible for her to disappear. "Your phone?" You left it on the front seat while you were holding your suitcase, Lu Yudong said, his gaze shifting to Zhang Si. His eyes were calm but carried a deep meaning, a look that was both familiar and unfathomable, unique to Lu Yudong, and completely indecipherable to Zhang Si. Oh, it was an accident, my mistake. Thank you, Mr. Lu. Despite her inner turmoil, Zhang Si nodded gratefully, taking the phone from Lu Yudong's hands, playing along with his act. After resolving the awkward situation, Lu Yudong turned back around. Zhang Si pretended to scroll through her phone, but she couldn't focus on anything. The way Lu Yudong returned the phone seemed to hint at something, and Zhang Si clearly heard in his voice. Last night's incident ends here. Zhang Si was an adult, not one to shy away from reality. She had intended to treat last night as just a dream. She wondered if her name, Zhang Si, had left any impression on him, for better or worse. She hoped he was too busy to dwell on it. Half a month passed without Zhang Si seeing Lu Yudong again. Even when the group held meetings, they were for the executives, and she was just an intern with an uncertain future. Aside from worrying about securing a position at New East Group, Zhang Si occasionally thought of Lu Yudong and their unresolved encounter, as it was her first time. One day, the internal phone on Zhang Si's desk rang. Zhang Si? The voice on the other end asked. Zhang Si felt a pang of panic and confusion. Why did this voice sound so familiar? Since that night, Lu Yudong's magnetic voice saying, "Turn off the lights," had been replaying in her mind, so this voice was not unfamiliar to her. Yes. Come to my office. Come to my office, the voice repeated. Oh, Zhang Si's heart was pounding. She thought, it probably wasn't about work. Their positions were too far apart, and even if there was a work issue, he wouldn't seek her out. Could it be about the team building event? To prevent more people from finding out about that day, was Lu Yudong going to let her go? After knocking on Lu Yudong's office door, Zhang Si found that he wasn't as nonchalant as he had been on the team building day. Instead, he was scrutinizing her from head to toe. This scrutiny made Zhang Si even more flustered. Yet, those eyes, though deep and unfathomable, were something Zhang Si couldn't help but gaze into greedily. Zhang Si looked at Lu Yudong with such greed. It left Lu Yudong feeling inexplicably puzzled. Is there something on my face? He asked Zhang Si. Zhang Si snapped back to reality. Lu Yudong didn't pursue the topic further and directly asked Zhang Si, how about marrying me? Zhang Si furrowed her brows slightly. The topic was worlds apart from what Zhang Si had been thinking about just moments ago. Zhang Si looked around. There was no one else in the office. I'm talking to you, Lu Yudong said. What? Marry me? Lu Yudong reiterated. Zhang Si's mind finally caught up with the question of, marry me. She was still a bit dazed. She had thought about marriage before, but with a month left until graduation, it was completely off her radar now. Zhang Si wondered if Lu Yudong was testing her. After all, for a president, sleeping with an intern might not be a loss, but it certainly wasn't ideal. He probably wanted to see if Zhang Si had any ulterior motives. Zhang Si felt a bit conflicted. To her, Lu Yudong's warm embrace and those eyes, combined with the unexpected night they spent together, made him different from other men, but she knew very well that in this life, or even the next, they were impossible. The reason Lu Yudong was proposing marriage to a woman so mismatched with him wasn't because he liked her. She remembered the advice Lu Yudong gave her when he returned her phone, and Zhang Si was even more convinced. He was afraid she'd cause trouble for him. So, she lied. I have a boyfriend. Talking about marriage? Lu Yudong asked again. Oh, not yet. After all, I haven't graduated, and I don't have a financial foundation, Zhang Si replied calmly. How far have you progressed? Lu Yudong showed unexpected interest in Zhang Si's personal affairs. Zhang Si didn't know what Lu Yudong meant, so she blurted out, we live together. The implication was, I have a boyfriend, and I've slept with him too. To avoid misunderstandings, I won't keep talking about sleeping with another man. She intended to bury the team building incident deep inside, reassuring Mr. Lu. Live together? Lu Yudong frowned slightly. That night, she was clearly seeing Lu Yudong's doubt. Zhang Si knew what he was thinking and quickly added, this boyfriend and I have been together for years. We only started living together after the team building event, having just moved out of the dorm and found a suitable place. Aren't you curious why I want to marry you? Lu Yudong wasn't surprised to hear Zhang Si had a boyfriend. Why? My grandfather is gravely ill, and he wants to see me married before he passes. But I don't have a girlfriend. As for why I chose you, you know better than anyone. After searching around, you're still the most suitable, Lu Yudong said, sitting in his office chair with an air of control. the most suitable, inevitably hurt John C's pride. They had slept together, making her indeed the most suitable. If he chose someone else, they might have many concerns, but choosing John C skipped that step entirely. Although she knew Liu Yudong wasn't marrying out of love, hearing his reasons still left John C disappointed. It seemed that not only did he remember that night, but he remembered it clearly. Moreover, Liu Yudong's tone slightly revealed disdain for John C. Though he asked for her help, he still looked down on her. Of course, in his eyes, she was just a woman scheming to have a relationship with her boss. She had slept with him and, intentionally, left her phone in his room, pretending to be a phony, while trying to catch a good catch. How could she expect him to respect her? Name your terms, but don't exceed 5 million, Liu Yudong said with a hint of disdain. 5 million was indeed a large sum, but for John C, it wasn't entirely irresistible. After a moment of silence, she gently suggested, Mr. Liu, you could consider getting a fake certificate. If my grandfather finds out, it would be troublesome. And the certificate is secondary. The key is finding someone to reassure him. Liu Yudong answered Zhang Ci's question with patience. Zhang Ci slowly nodded, biting her lip as she thought about how to refuse. Seeing Zhang Ci's hesitation, Liu Yudong added, the marriage will have a time limit. If you agree, we can register tomorrow. As for the end date, I don't agree, Zhang Ci declared firmly. Liu Yudong. The words Liu Yudong wanted to say never got the chance. He just stared intently at Zhang Ci. For the first time, someone had refused him without hesitation. Liu Yudong stared at Zhang Ci. If he wasn't mistaken, the night she spent with him had ulterior motives. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that she left her phone in the room? But now, her straightforward rejection of him made him see her in a new light. Of course, if she ever changed her mind in the future, he would think even less of her. After all, playing hard to get was nothing new, and trying that on him would only lead to her own humiliation. Fine, then you can leave, he dismissed her coldly. Back in the office, Zhang Ci found that she wasn't angry, just felt a chill in her heart. But since she had already refused Liu Yudong's request, she decided not to dwell on it. The most important thing now was to stay at New East. After all, the benefits at New East International were unmatched in all of Jiangzhou. While she was internally conflicted, she received a WeChat message from her brother Zhang Yi. Zhang Ci, the doctor said to come to the hospital at 4 this afternoon. Zhang Ci was annoyed. I'm still at work at 4. Then you tell the doctor yourself. Zhang Ci knew that talking to Zhang Yi was pointless. It was now 3 o'clock, and if she needed to be at the hospital by 4, she would have to leave by 3:30 and ask the finance director for leave again. Thinking of this made Zhang Ci's scalp tingle. She was actually quite capable, having been an outstanding student in school and later applying a new accounting method at work, earning praise from her superiors. But she was always asking for leave, and now, during the crucial period of deciding the intern's futures, frequent absences were not good. Sure enough, when she asked for leave, Finance Director Xing Baohua said, Little Zhang, although your performance is good, how can I write a report for you if you're always taking leave? You want to stay at New East Group, right? Director, New East Group is such a great company. Of course, I want to stay, but I really have something urgent. I'll come back and work overtime to make up for it after I'm done, Zhang Ci said humbly. Xing Baohua reluctantly approved her leave, and Zhang Ci left, taking the bus to Jiangzhou First People's Hospital. Zhang Ci's mother had been lying in the neurology department of the hospital for 2 years. Little Zhang, your mom's hospital fees are due. Did you bring the money today? Dr. Fu, her mother's longtime doctor, was familiar with Zhang Ci. He knew that her older brother was a hands-off manager who wouldn't handle their mother's medical expenses, leaving Zhang Ci to juggle everything. Oh, no, I won't get paid for a couple of days. The embarrassment of having no money made Zhang Ci lower her head. Then hurry up. If this continues, the hospital will have to take action. I know, Zhang Ci nodded and bowed. Zhang Ci went to see her mother, who was still on oxygen. For 2 years, whenever Zhang Ci spoke to her mother, there was no response. Zhang Ci's father had been a project manager on a construction site. The family of 4 had lived harmoniously, but 6 years ago, her father tragically fell from over 20 floors during a project and passed away. This incident was a huge blow to Zhang Ci's mother, leading to her mental instability and a subsequent car accident. The compensation from her father's accident, along with the car owner's compensation, had supported her mother in the hospital for over 5 years, but the money was running out. When the money was nearly gone, Jiang Si started helping teachers at school or tutoring to earn money for her mother's hospital fees. According to her brother, it would be easier to just remove their mother's oxygen, but Jiang Si felt Zhang Yi was too heartless. Having a mom to call, even if she didn't respond, was better than having no one in the world. At this moment, Jiang Si held her mother's hand in hers. Mom, I'm preparing for the CPA exam now. You must bless me to pass. Once I pass, my salary will increase several times, and earning $1 million a year is possible. Then, paying for your medical expenses won't be a problem at all. Jiang Si even smiled at her mother, but there was no response. For 6 years, Jiang Si had always hoped her mother would suddenly open her eyes and talk to her, just like when she was a child, stroking her head and calling her, Little C. Little C. I have to go back to work. I haven't passed the CPA yet, and the most important thing now is to stay at New East. Jiang Si encouraged herself. Staying at New East meant a steady income every month, allowing her to pay rent and cover her mom's medical expenses. But because she was always asking for leave, staying at New East was becoming quite difficult. When Jiang Si left the hospital, it was past 8 in the evening, and a light drizzle had started. She took the bus back to the company. As soon as she entered the company lobby, she saw Liu Yudong standing tall and elegant, one hand in the pocket of his trousers, the other holding a phone as he spoke to someone at the front desk. The spotlights in the lobby shone brightly, making him appear even more distinguished yet distant. Jiang Si's heart suddenly tightened. In the past few months, she barely encountered him once, so why did she keep seeing him lately? He brushed past Jiang Si while on the phone, and she wasn't sure if he heard her soft, Mr. Liu. After Jiang Si got into the elevator, she turned around and saw that Liu Yudong's figure had already disappeared into the vast night. The rain tonight was heavy. She wondered if he had brought an umbrella. Her father used to go out without an umbrella too, and Jiang Si would always chase after him to hand him one. Her father would pat her head, saying, Little Si has grown up and knows how to care for her dad. Tears blurred Jiang Si's eyes. Jiang Si worked overtime until 4 in the morning. She didn't plan to return to her rented apartment and wanted to nap at the company while waiting for the workday to start. Just as she lay her head on the desk, her phone rang, waking her up. Seeing it was Dr. Fu calling, Jiang Si quickly answered. For the past 2 years, whenever Dr. Fu called, it was either because her mother's condition had worsened or to remind her to pay the hospital fees. Jiang Si, after you left yesterday, your mother developed a fever. We suspect it's due to mucus accumulation in her lungs. Is it serious? Jiang Si asked anxiously, standing up from her seat. Don't worry just yet. We've already taken emergency measures, and for now, she's stable. But yesterday's surgery fees plus this month's hospital fees amount to about 60,000. You should pay it all at once. If you keep delaying, it's hard for me to speak on your behalf with the hospital. Also, Jiang Si, your mother's condition is special. Since both you and your brother are working, could you hire a caregiver for her? Regular turning and cleaning can prevent many infections. Jiang Si stood there, dazed. After working all night, her eyes were already lifeless, and now she faced this sudden blow. Forget 60,000, even 6,000 was beyond her reach right now. She was fully experiencing the saying, a penny can stump a hero. Her internship salary at New East was only 6,500 a month, and she had rent to pay. Her salary wouldn't be paid for another half month. Even if she could get her CPA certification and earn big money, that was still a year away. She knew Dr. Fu had already done his utmost for her. If it weren't for him speaking on her behalf, her mother might not still be in the hospital. 60,000 was a lot of money. They had borrowed from all their relatives, and now no one was willing to lend them any more. Just when Jiang Si was at her wit's end, she suddenly remembered what Liu Yudong had said last night. Compared to 5 million, 60,000 was a drop in the bucket. Jiang Si's heart wavered. She once thought she could earn that 5 million herself, but now it seemed like a pipe dream. Her mother needed a caregiver, something Drive Fu had mentioned before, but she never had the money. Now, the downside of not hiring one was apparent. Her mother's improper care had led to mucus accumulation in her lungs, making it imperative to hire a caregiver. Jiang Si knew that with Liu Yudong's status, finding a woman to marry would be quite easy. He even mentioned last night that he had looked around. She wondered if anything had changed after last night. With this thought, Jiang Si felt very anxious and went to Liu Yudong's office door. It was just past 5, and no one was in Liu Yudong's office yet. Jiang Si stood at the door, waiting for the rabbit to come. Just as she was struggling to keep her eyes open, Liu Yudong arrived. Liu Yudong saw Jiang Si standing at the door and immediately knew she had changed her mind. He felt even more disdainful, playing hard to get in front of him, overestimating herself. Jiang Si quickly regained her composure, knowing she was here to ask for Liu Yudong's help, so her voice inevitably carried a hint of flattery. Good morning, Mr. Liu. Liu Yudong opened the door, sat in his office chair, turned on his computer, and flipped through some documents. Is there something you need from me? Liu Yudong asked Jiang Si in a cold, indifferent tone. Hearing his slightly hoarse voice, Jiang Si remembered the heavy rain last night and that he hadn't taken an umbrella, so she quickly asked, Did you catch a cold, Mr. Liu? Drink more water. Do you have any medicine? Getting caught in the rain wasn't a big deal, but it wasn't trivial either. Her father once worked overtime in the rain at a construction site and was bedridden for several days. Get to the point. Liu Yudong's voice was a bit impatient. To him, Jiang Si's concern sounded insincere. Mr. Liu, does what you said yesterday still stand? Jiang Si asked, bracing herself. What? Liu Yudong didn't even look up. Jiang Si wondered. Is he pretending, or did he really forget? The thing about getting married, Jiang Si raised her voice, her tone slightly trembling. It seemed like Liu Yudong just realized, that matter? What's up? In fact, Jiang Si had anticipated Liu Yudong's attitude. Once she took the initiative to ask him, he would put on airs. But even if he did, Jiang Si had no choice. After all, she had lost the upper hand. Now, Liu Yudong held the knife, and she was the fish. Do you still need someone to marry? Jiang Si tried to make her voice sound flattering. And Liu Yudong picked up on that flattery. I do. Liu Yudong lit a cigarette, sitting leisurely in his office chair, staring at Jiang Si. You approached me yesterday, and I wasn't sure then. But after thinking it over, I'm okay with it. Jiang Si endured her shame. But to Liu Yudong, this seemed like she was putting on a show. I do need someone to marry, but how do you know I haven't found that person yet? Liu Yudong countered. Ah? Jiang Si's eyes showed some anxiety as she quickly calculated what she would do to raise money elsewhere if the path with Liu Yudong didn't work out. Seeing Jiang Si's expression, Liu Yudong thought. She thought she was playing the game, but now she's caught. He had thought she was confident, but it turned out she was just this capable, and now she was panicking. Why the sudden change of heart? I remember you saying you had a boyfriend. After a moment of silence, Liu Yudong asked. You said yesterday that I could set conditions. I'm doing it for money, and you're doing it to give your grandfather an explanation. It's mutually beneficial. I think that's a good enough reason. All right, very straightforward. Liu Yudong curled his lips into an enigmatic smile. Can I ask, at your young age, why do you need the money? Jiang Si thought for a moment. If she said her mother was seriously ill, it would inevitably reveal her frequent absences, affecting her position at New East. Since the lie about her boyfriend was already out, she decided to continue using boyfriend as a cover. You know, housing prices in Jiangzhou are very high, about 60 to 70,000 per square meter. My boyfriend and I would need to save for about 200 years without eating or drinking to afford a place. My boyfriend told me yesterday that he's going to intern out of town, so I want to use this time to earn some extra money and surprise him when he gets back. Jiang Si lied skillfully, without a hint of hesitation. Would your boyfriend agree to this? Liu Yudong continued to ask. Of course not. I'll keep it a secret from him. A tight secret. How much do you want? Liu Yudong asked coldly. How much can you offer? Jiang Si returned to a righteous tone. Liu Yudong initially wanted to say 5 million, but since she was so eager to earn money, and he was increasingly unimpressed with her, he suddenly didn't want to make it easy for her. He wanted to make her suffer. A basic salary of 1 million. Additionally, Liu Yudong said nonchalantly, there will be some detailed terms. I'll give you a written agreement later, with performance evaluations. In short, with me, 5 million a year is no problem, and if you stay for 2 years, you'll get a house. Jiang Si was stunned. 5 million a year? Was it that easy to make money with Liu Yudong? All right, deal. Let's add each other on WeChat, so you can notify me if there's anything. Liu Yudong's WeChat was simply his real name, Liu Yudong. For someone as prominent as him, there was no need for a nickname. His name said it all. Jiang Si even took the time to scroll through Liu Yudong's social circle, which was almost empty except for some reposts of articles from New East International's PR department. To keep Liu Yudong's contact from standing out on her phone, Jiang Si deliberately changed his WeChat name to Passerby A. After Jiang Si added him, Passerby A sent a message. Sign the agreement tomorrow. Get the certificate. There was no room for change. Liu Yudong was indeed a man of his word. Zhang Si replied with a simple, okay. After work, Zhang Si first went to her school to retrieve her household registration card. Then she went to the New East Mall to buy a red shirt, considering she was going to register. New East Mall was also owned by Liu Yudong, one of his many businesses. The next morning, Zhang Si put on slightly heavier makeup. Her skin was already fair, and with the makeup, her features appeared even more delicate and beautiful. She wore the size S red shirt she bought. She looked stunning in the mirror, but Zhang Si was oblivious to it. She just thought, since it's a registration, she should look the part. The bus was a bit crowded that morning, and just before her stop, Liu Yudong sent a WeChat message. Come to my office. Zhang Si replied. 10 minutes. When she arrived at Liu Yudong's office, her appearance caught his eye, and the fullness of her chest reminded him fleetingly of that night, his thoughts momentarily drifting. It was just a man's instinct. He said nothing. He was Zhang Si's ATM, and Zhang Si was his tool. There was another person in the office, Liu Yudong's legal advisor, who had Zhang Si sign several agreements. The basic terms were, Liu Yudong's assets were unrelated to Zhang Si. The marriage was to be kept confidential, but Zhang Si would receive 1,000,000 yuan at the end of the agreement, with additional bonuses during the contract marriage. The bonus details were as follows. First, make grandpa smile once, 10,000. Second, cook a delicious meal for grandpa, 20,000. Third, accompany grandpa during his hospital stay, 100,000. Fourth, after grandpa's passing, arrange his funeral, 1,000,000. Lastly, Zhang Si saw the most important clause. Upon signing, the male party would pay the female party a deposit of 200,000 yuan. Additional clause. Any unaddressed matters in the contract are subject to the male party's interpretation. The weight of the salary rewards left Zhang Si speechless. It was clear that Liu Yudong was extremely wealthy, and all the rewards revolved around Grandpa. The money for accompanying Grandpa once could pay for 10 months of nursing care for her mother. Privately, Zhang Si hoped Grandpa would live a long life. That way, she would have endless money and wouldn't have to worry about her mother's illness. Liu Yudong's salary mechanism was similar to working at New East, where the base salary was low, but if you performed well, you could earn a lot by the end of the month, motivating people to work hard. Zhang Si thought, I must work hard and earn more money. With a flourish, Zhang Si signed her name. Are all the materials ready? Liu Yudong asked Zhang Si coldly. Yes, they're ready. Identity card, household registration card. As she spoke, Zhang Si took these 2 items out of her bag and placed them on Liu Yudong's desk. Liu Yudong glanced at them briefly, then said, let's go. They went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Getting the certificate took no more than 10 minutes, and the photo of her and Liu Yudong was stamped with the Civil Affairs Bureau's seal. Although Zhang Si felt like she was dreaming, she was officially a married woman. After returning in the afternoon, Zhang Si acted as if nothing had happened and went back to work as usual. But Zhang Si kept thinking about one thing. Why hadn't the 200,000 deposit arrived yet? This 200,000 was the life-saving money that Zhang Si urgently needed. The surgery and hospital fees for her mother were still unpaid, and Zhang Si felt like an ant on a hot pan. Dr. Fu had said today was the last day. But she saw that finance director Xing Baohua had gone to a group meeting and hadn't returned yet. Zhang Si guessed that Liu Yudong was also in the meeting, and she knew it wasn't a good time to message him on WeChat. She might end up with nothing if she annoyed him. Zhang Si could only wait patiently. After working overtime until past 10 in the evening, Zhang Si walked into the elevator, exhausted. By coincidence, Liu Yudong was already in the elevator when she entered. Seeing Liu Yudong, Zhang Si instantly perked up and stood in the corner of the elevator. The issue of money had been weighing on her mind for a long time. Mr. Liu, she mustered the courage to speak, seeing that no one else was around. Yes, Liu Yudong replied nonchalantly, standing in front of Zhang Si. Their conversation didn't resemble that of a couple who were married both in name and in reality. I remember the agreement stated that after signing, there would be a deposit of 200,000. This money, after all, it was about asking for money, and Zhang Si, not having graduated yet, felt a bit shy. They haven't transferred it to you yet? Liu Yudong never turned around, not even glancing at Zhang Si standing behind him. No, not yet. Are you in a hurry? Zhang Si. She was so anxious she could jump over a wall. Today was almost over. I thought Lawyer Guan had already sent it to you. Send me your account number. Liu Yudong was straightforward, not dwelling on whether she was in a hurry or not, and directly asked for her account number. His straightforward attitude finally put Zhang Si at ease. I'll send you my account number once I get on the bus. When they reached the first floor, Liu Yudong left the elevator without saying a word. There weren't many people on the bus. After getting on, Jong Si took out her bank card, snapped a picture of it, and sent it to Liu Yudong, with the account number clearly visible. Soon after, Jong Si received a transfer of 200,000. Just as she was praising Liu Yudong in her heart for being so prompt, she received another WeChat message from him. If you were a bit more diligent and typed the numbers, the transfer might have been 30 seconds faster. Jong Si. Was he calling her lazy? Worried that it might affect their marriage performance, Jong Si added unnecessarily, "Oh, it's like this, Mr. Liu. There were a lot of people on the bus, and it wasn't convenient to type. You were in such a hurry, and you're worried about convenience?" Jong Si. So, in the end, it was still about her being eager for the money. As Jong Si was struggling to find words to respond, she received another WeChat message from Liu Yudong. "This Saturday, come with me to Qingsheng to visit Grandpa." Jong Si felt a pang in her heart and then asked, "How many days?" "Leave Saturday morning, stay one night, and return on Sunday." To be honest, Jong Si was happy about going to Grandpa's house. After all the performance bonuses revolved around Grandpa. Only by seeing Grandpa could Jong Si earn more money. On Friday, Jong Si went to the hospital to see her mother. Her mother was much better after the surgery. Jong Si also spoke to Dr. Fu, asking him to keep an eye out for a suitable caregiver at the hospital and to help hire one quickly if possible. However, today in her mother's ward, Jong Si saw her elusive brother, Jong Yi. Jong Yi was a good-for-nothing who recently found a new job as a driver for a tech company's boss. His driving skills were decent. "Jong Si, how about I introduce you to someone?" Jong Yi said with a cheeky grin. Jong Si ignored Jong Yi. How good could his drinking buddies be? Besides, she was already married in name and would never do something unfaithful to give Liu Yudong any leverage. "Not interested. I'm not in the mood right now. I'll wait until mom gets better." Jong Si held her mother's hand and pressed it against her face. "Wait until mom gets better? You might be waiting forever," Jong Yi said casually. This made Jong Si unhappy, and she ignored Jong Yi. "I remember you used to have a lot of admirers. Besides, that person, he's already dead. Are you going to stay single for him forever?" Jong Yi's purpose for coming to their mother's ward was to corner Jong Si. He rarely visited their mom,